So it's almost 2025 and you're thinking about making a move. You're tired of the snow, you're tired of the heat, you're tired of the commute to work, you're tired of the city life, you're tired of the rural life, whatever it is, you're thinking about making a change and you've heard a lot about Charlotte, North Carolina, but you just don't know if it's right for you. You're not ready to jump right in. Maybe you don't know enough about it. So in this video, we're going to talk about all things Charlotte, North Carolina, and what to expect in 2025. This isn't really a pro-con video. It's just we're going to cover a bunch of facts. We're just going to talk about it, right? You got to try the shoe on before you buy it. That's what we're going to do here. I'm not trying to deter you from moving here. I'd love to help you. We're just going to talk about Charlotte and see if it's the right fit for you. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Be sure to give us a like and follow along so you can stay up to date on all things Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a local realtor here. I love our community and I'm here to bring it to you. First, we're going to start off with one that a lot of people actually consider when they look at moving. A lot of people relocate for work. Well, they used to anyways. A lot of people that relocate here do get relocated for work with companies such as Lowe's or something, but a lot of people work remotely and just kind of want a different life. But one of the things that people take into consideration is the commute. So we are going to talk about traffic. Now, depending on where you're from, this could be a positive thing or a negative thing. For me, I think it's terrible here. And actually, I've been saying it for years. Forbes just released their commute report and it has like the top 10 worst cities. Charlotte is ranked number 2 of worst commute, with an average Charlotte teen spending just under 28 minutes of commute time in their car. Now, here's why I say it could be a good thing or a bad thing, depends on where you're from. If you're from New York, let's say, and you lived in Manhattan and you walked to work, well, 28 minutes in a car might be a big deal to you. But if you lived over in California and you're stuck in traffic because you had to drive to work and the traffic wasn't moving at all and you stuck 45 minutes in traffic every single day, it might not be a big deal for you. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. You got to compare it and you got to see what you're looking to change right now. In my opinion, Charlotte traffic is pretty bad. It's getting progressively heavy. We have over 100 people move here a day in Charlotte. The population of the city is changing much quicker than the city can keep up with it. Charlotte, in my opinion, does have decent roads, but they are older. The infrastructure is older, so there's always construction being worked on them. Now, it's not like Florida. I remember Florida, there's like potholes every road you turned on. So when we say like the condition of the roads is pretty good, they're just old and nobody knows where they're going because nobody's from here. So we're all just looking at our map, right? And we're all trying to get detoured because there's an accident up ahead. Nobody knows where it's going and it's trying to detour us, but that detour is closed because of construction. So in my opinion, traffic is really bad. Now, I used to say, prior to moving here that the worst place of traffic was Atlanta. And I still do think that's pretty true. Atlanta is pretty bad. Or maybe it's just like an old kind of like nostalgic thing of like avoid Atlanta traffic at all costs at rush hour times. With that said, for a larger city, right? I mean, we're similar sizes as Atlanta and stuff. So for a larger, or I guess mid to large city, a lot of other cities have better public transportation. So Charlotte is a very car dependent city. And that's another reason why our traffic here is so bad, because everybody has to have a car. There's very few neighborhoods in Charlotte that don't require you to have a car. Now, there are families that live here that they come from a different state where they weren't required to have a car. It made sense for their lifestyle that they come over with one car. And that can work depending on where you live and, what your schedules and everything. I know if you live over in like Plaza Midwood or Noda, a really big thing that we're seeing right now are those like electric bikes. Instead of owning 2 cars, some families are just doing one main car and then the other one will take like an electric bike to and from work or something if, you work remotely a few days a week or something. In my opinion, traffic is pretty bad here in Charlotte. It's not unbearable, but it is bad. You have a lot of highways, a lot of accidents, a lot of different driving styles as well. You've got people from New York or from New Jersey that might drive a little bit more aggressively than, people from where everyone has different driving styles. I remember in Pittsburgh, we had something called the Pittsburgh left, or like you would literally go and just cut somebody off and it was known. It was called the Pittsburgh left. You just had to be the one to take the risk to do it. So traffic, in my opinion, is pretty bad. On that note, I know we touched base on it, you do need a car here. So if you're looking for a walkable city, which is one of the bigger things that I do kind of hear as a negative thing from people that move from a larger city, is Charlotte's not really walkable. And it's not. There are very few neighborhoods here that are walkable. We have a couple little towns on the outskirts that have really cute downtown areas, but they are on the outskirts of Charlotte. They're Belmont, they're Kannapolis, Concord. So they are about a 30-minute drive from the city center of Charlotte. So it is a very car dependent city with limited public transportation. Now, Charlotte is a very progressive city, and they are doing a really good job at trying to keep up with it and trying to make improvements with the public transportation. But right now we do have the light rail. It goes all the way down South Boulevard and will take you up almost to the university area. Well, in the university area. So that will take you across the city, but there's not as many stops as you might think. Or, if you need to go further east in the city, it's not really going to give you that. So there are a few options here. We do have a pretty wide bus system, but you do need a mode of transportation when you're here in Charlotte. Now, something that we did touch a little bit about is the growth of Charlotte and the changing that it's experienced. Well, with growth comes growing pains. So this video is going to be kind of specific to 2025 and maybe the next couple of years. The construction. With growth, the city has to keep up with it. We got to provide more housing. We got to provide more amenities, all the things, right? So it does seem like in every corner of Charlotte, there is construction. Now, sometimes it's good construction, right? If you drive down South Boulevard, it's really rapidly changing. I swear I drive down it every single day. And I'm like, oh my God, this building wasn't there a week ago. But they're taking down these older buildings. Some have been vacant for a really long time. Some are run down. So it doesn't really look very clean. Maybe can make you feel a little uncomfortable if you're like walking down, might feel a little unsafe or something. But they're taking down these buildings in these areas and they're putting up newer buildings. Yes, they are apartments. That does mean there's going to be a lot of congestion. It does mean there's going to be more traffic in that area. But in terms of a new, clean feeling city, Charlotte is really quickly developing. Even on the outskirts of it, if you go down to downtown Concord, downtown Kannapolis, there's big initiatives going on right now to revitalize these older towns, to also help drive people out there because Charlotte is still, it's still too populated. So there's nowhere to go. So you do have a lot of road construction. If you're driving down the Highway 45, you're going to see cranes in the skyline. You're going to see detours everywhere. So if you don't like construction, we have a lot of new construction housing communities going on right now because we have to provide homes for all these people coming here. So if you don't like new construction, you might want to avoid Charlotte over the next couple of years. Not new construction, if you don't like construction in general, noises, detours, all the things that go with it, nails in your tires, because that does happen. You might want to avoid Charlotte for the next couple of years because there is going to be a lot of growth happening here in 2025, and I would say 2026. 2024 has been incredible to watch it change, but that is a thing. Tons of construction, tons of growth, tons of revitalization, tons of new home communities. Speaking of new homes, if you guys are looking for construction or if you guys are interested in what that might look like, reach out to myself, my team. We would love to help you. If you're looking to relocate to Charlotte, be sure you grab our relocation guide. It's down here and it's linked in the description of the video. We'd love to help you and we can help you out with any new construction here in the area. But even with that, you're going to have unfinished roads. You're going to have dump trucks and concrete trucks and roofers as your neighbors for a little bit. So you have to be okay with a little bit of disruption and noise. This next one might be a little controversial. It depends on your opinion and where you stand on it, but sports. Charlotte is a really cool city for sports. We've got everything you want. We've got football, we've got the Panthers, we've got basketball, the Hornets, we've got hockey, we've got soccer, Charlotte FC's here, we've got baseball, we have Charlotte Knights. Every sports team that you want is here. Now, I say that, but keep in mind, Charlotte is a really, really big melting pot. And that's for professional teams and for college teams. So there really isn't a strong sense of any one particular team. Yes, people here love the Panthers. Apparently they started doing good like 5 years ago and now people absolutely love them. I don't know. Don't come after me. I'm not a sports fan, so I am not the one running the numbers. This is just my observation living my everyday life here in Charlotte. We don't really have a strong college team presence here. So what is really cool about it is Charlotte has these alumni clubs. My husband and I are part of the University of Florida Alumni Club, which has been great for meeting people, which we will get into that in the next segment here. But West Virginia has a huge sports following here. So they do pretty good with kind of keeping that sportsmanship going for college teams, professional teams as well. There are bars here that it's like an Ohio State bar or Steelers bar or whatever it is. So I say that it's kind of controversial because in other cities, If you're in Pittsburgh, you are a Steelers fan. There's no other option. You're a Steelers fan. End of story. Like, there's no questions, there's no debate, there's no conversation. That's it. Charlotte's not like that. Like, it's okay if you're not a Panthers fan, because so many people aren't from here that they have their own teams that they like to support and represent. So that one might be a little controversial. I know some people are really strong here, but it is a very sports city. Like, you can, if you're really big into sports, you're not going to miss anything here. You've got hockey, you've got the games, you've got the arenas, you've got whatever it is you want to go here. So we're going to just move right into the meeting people thing that I mentioned earlier, or as some people call it, the Southern hospitality. Now, one thing that I actually heard for the first time yesterday that somebody's had a hard time with it. Literally, we've been here almost 9 years now, and I heard it for the very first time that someone has had a really hard time meeting people here. So there are the one-offs, there are the exception, but Charlotte is still the South, right? It is still that Southern hospitality. So there's a couple different factors that go into this. Some are really good, some are kind of frustrating. So in terms of meeting people, Charlotte's really easy. I think there's a few different reasons why. It's because no one's from here. So you've got that, like, you already have that in common. You've got the sports kind of scene where it's like everyone's going for a different team and it's okay to be going for a different team. So you've got that going for you. So that common interest. How else do you meet people, right? When you're out and about? Well, Charlotte has great weather. So we're tying a lot of factors into this one, but Charlotte has really good weather. So when it's nice out, everybody's out and about. We go to a brewery, go walk where people are walking their dogs, and people are out at parks, or they're going to dog bars or something. The majority of people that I know has been really easy to meet people, which is kind of comforting when you're going to a new city, because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I moved to California, or I know when we moved to Pittsburgh, like, it didn't feel like that. We had a really hard time meeting people, and it can be lonely, like if you're, you're in your, I'm moving to a new place and I want to experience things. And if that's the phase of life that you're in right now, it can be a little frustrating to not have other people around you. So I think it's been really good here to meet people. On the other side of that is the Southern hospitality. So, sometimes you meet your neighbors and you don't really want to meet them. Sometimes they stop you on the way out to your car and you've got your hands full with 100 grocery items and they stand there and want to talk to you because it is very hospitable. It is that Southern charm here. It is also a much slower pace of life. Y'all, 9 years later, oh yeah, there's another thing. You'll say y'all. You'll try to fight it. You say you won't say it. I remember those days. And then here I am. I say it all the time. I text it. It'll happen. You just lean into it. It's what we do here in the South. It's a very much slower pace of life here. You go to the grocery store, like, it's really not uncommon for someone just to stop right in the middle of the aisle. Like, I just need to get my Pop-Tarts or whatever you're shopping for. That took me a really long time to get adjusted to, and even still, the pace here really does kind of irk me a lot. It's something that I've struggled with. I don't think I'll ever adjust to it. Every once in a while, though, it is kind of nice to slow down, smell the, what do they call it? Smell the flowers? I don't know. Slower pace of life. So if you are from a really busy city, Manhattan, or I don't know, other busy cities, even Florida. Florida's, I guess, not seen to be a busier city or like a busy pace of life. And I didn't think it was until I came here. And things just move very slow. People drive slower. The speed limits are slower. I think people talk slower a little bit, not in the bad way, talk slower, but just like it is a slower speed. They definitely move. I'm telling you, the grocery store is where you'll notice it the most. You will lose your mind, right? You'll watch cashiers and they're moving slowly. They're talking, they're doing everything else. I'm like, oh my God, just do it. Here's cat, here, So I digress. Southern hospitality, it's great to meet people. It's very friendly. You're going to go borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor. Your neighbor's also going to stop you and talk to you at your car with your hands full. And it's also a really slow pace of life. So not a bad thing. Don't let it deter you. If you're craving that change, it could be a good place for you. But just know, slow it down when you're coming here. Something I get asked all the time is, what is there to do in Charlotte? Usually it's specific around the holidays or the weather-related items, or just people looking to get out and to explore things. One thing that is really, really good about Charlotte, but can also make it a little bit different, is Charlotte is not a city that you visit. It's not a touristy city. There's nothing drawing people here. There's no major attractions drawing people here. So a lot of people don't visit here unless if they've got friends or family, or if they are considering moving here. A lot lot of people, believe it or not, move here without ever visiting. They move here because of the weather. They move here because of the cost of living. They move here because of the job opportunities. All three of these things hold some pretty strong weight where they don't really care what there is to do around the area. It's a city, they'll figure it out. But if you're looking to live here, at some point you are going to want to know, what is there to do? What type of entertainment are you getting into? So we're gonna talk about that for a little bit. Outdoor activities are fantastic in Charlotte for the most part year round. That has to do with weather as well. We'll get into that in a second, but there's always outdoor activity. Charlotte has a ton of parks just in its metro area. We've got the two lakes, one north, one south. Well, I say a ton of attractions. We've got attractions such as the Whitewater Center. We've got your sporting events and your sporting teams here. We've got lots of museums. We've got science museums. We do have the Blumenthal Performing Arts Center. Concerts have been booming in Charlotte lately. There's a ton of different types of venues. You can get the Big Bank of America concerts. You can do the PNC Amphitheater concert. You can do the Skyla Credit Union Amphitheater, a little bit more intimate. You can go all the way down to like an indoor, very small kind of scene. So a ton of concerts in the area. There's always festivals as well. There's always some kind of pop-up shop happening. A food truck Friday, shop small, front porch Sundays, Christmas markets. Like there's always something to do. I will say it's not always going to be the easiest to find these things. Sometimes you gotta hop on Facebook and you really gotta dig for it, or follow these places on social media and, watch their pages and they'll post things for you to do. But there is always something to do. Now, we don't have a huge nightlife scene. Like we don't really have those big entertainment strips and districts. We have a couple of them, Uptown, Montford, Plaza Midwood, Noda, and South End. Those are your really big entertainment parts. Really, South End is going to be your biggest one that you have. So if you're from somewhere like Atlanta, New York, Dallas, even Washington, D.C., your options are going to be less than what you're used to, but they're still going to be there. They're still going to be around. It just might be a little slower and it might end a little bit earlier. So make sure you check that out. But if you're somebody who likes to go, and have that kind of Sex in the City lifestyle, Charlotte might not be the best fit for you right now in 2025. So we touched base on weather a little bit just a second ago, but let's get into it. You have to be prepared for all four seasons, which I'm gonna be honest with you, I knew it happened, but I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for winter when I came here. You gotta learn how to layer clothes. You know how uncomfortable it is for a Floridian to layer their clothes? What? But we do have all four seasons and they're kind of wacky. So we do have something, well, we have 5 seasons, honestly. We have one called Fake Fall. That does happen. It cools down and then it gets really hot again. And then it cools down and it gets into fall. However, a year like this year, we are end of December. This is the end of December, guys. We are about to go into the new year. And during the day today, it was like 65. It was rainy. It's been raining here for a couple days and gloomy. But then by 3:30, it dropped down to like 50 and the sun's out, but it's windy. Last week, we were down in the teens during the night. So up north, like Mooresville and Huntersville got snow. So it is a little unstable. It's, we're all a little unstable in 2025. We got to give this queen some grace. Let's just let her roll. She's going through it right now, but it's consistently, you do get all 4 seasons. You do get really pretty falls. You do get cold winters. You don't have to bring out your big puffy coat, but you are going to be cold. Summers do get hot. There are actually some days where I'll just kind of compare, different states to, Texas is not it, but I'll compare like Florida or South Carolina to Charlotte just because they're known to be a little bit hotter. And sometimes Charlotte is actually hotter than they are. It does get humid here. So if you don't want hot summers, Charlotte might not be the best place for you. Like if you're used to your summers being in the 70s, Charlotte's not going to be it for you. You're going to be hot. You're going to be really hot. Our falls are in the 70s. So you do get all 4 seasons. Spring here is beautiful. You drive down. Charlotte does have a ton of trees in it. So with that, you start to see everything start to bloom and things kind of come to life finally after a few months of being cold. So you get all 4 seasons. They're not extreme either way. They're just a little wacky and a little unstable, which you kind of got to be prepared for. You never know what to wear. You just roll with your punches. We talked about the landscape, a little bit of Charlotte. Charlotte and Raleigh are the 2 biggest cities here in North Carolina. And in between that, the whole state of North Carolina is still relatively rural. It's very agricultural based. You can drive outside of Charlotte an hour and you're in cow pastures and corn and fields. Unless if you're in these kind of larger metro areas, you are going to get a little bit of a rural feeling, but it's kind of cool though, because Charlotte is kind of tucked away and you have the best of both worlds. So that's something a lot of people don't realize, but I kind of like to say that, you know, just be prepared. If you're going on a road trip, you're going to see not much. We do have a lot of small towns and mountain towns around Charlotte that you can access, are really cool. So just be prepared for that as well. So you'll often hear about the suburbs of Charlotte. What does that mean? Well, Charlotte isn't just Charlotte. Charlotte is Kannapolis, Charlotte is Concord, Charlotte is Matthews, Charlotte is Fort Mill, Kankakee. Yes, we go across state lines here and still consider it the suburbs of Charlotte. It was very weird for me. I'm like, we're not even in the same state. How is this a suburb of Charlotte? To me, a suburb was like a community. That's kind of what in my mind. But with that said, it's kind of cool because you still get that big city, but if you want that smaller town feel, you can go over to Belmont and you can get it. Or if you want kind of an old school vibe, you can go over to Concord or Kannapolis and you can get it. And you're still within a 35-40 minute drive to the city. So if you're looking for a little bit of mix, you want the suburban, but you still want the urban lifestyle, you still want the city amenities, you can absolutely get it. But you can also still get a little bit of space. You can head down to Clover or Waxhaw, which is just 35 minutes away from the city, and you can get an acre of land and still be really close to Charlotte City. So it is really cool. The options that you can get, you know, it will increase your commute time. It does increase traffic. You know, it might, how you spend your weekends, you're not gonna come to the city, like into Charlotte every weekend or something, but honestly, do you ever really leave your bubble anyways with where you're at? We live in the city and we don't really leave our bubble too often. We do, but honestly, not really. We don't ever find ourselves going up to University area or down to Fort Mill on rare occasions, but on a day-to-day basis, we don't leave our bubble. You probably won't either. And finally, if you're just looking for a new opportunity, if you're looking to move to a city that's still affordable comparatively, now if you ask the original Charlotteans, they're going to complain about how expensive it's gotten here. But if you look around compared to other major cities, Los Angeles, Houston, Dallas, Tampa even, New York, Atlanta, if you look around at all those and compare it, Charlotte is still pretty affordable. And one good thing about it is the opportunities that Charlotte provides. So Charlotte is and has been known for the financial hub. We're the second largest financial hub in the US. We've got Bank of America, we've got Wells Fargo. We have a bunch of different just financial hubs here. But with that being said, is we have a huge tech industry as well. We also have a huge startup industry. Entrepreneurship is booming here in Charlotte. So if you're really kind of looking to change your opportunity or for a growth opportunity, you can find it here in Charlotte, I promise. So there's a bunch about Charlotte and what to expect for 2025 and what life can look like here in Charlotte. If you found this video helpful, let us know, give us a follow, give us a like. If you have any questions or if I left anything out, drop a comment below. If you want our relocation guide, go ahead and grab it. And if you're looking to connect, if you're looking to move here, whether it's in 9 days or 90 days, reach out. My team and I would love to help.